Tonight, in partnership with Enough is Enough, we will have a quick chat with Funke Adeoye. She's the founder of Hope Behind Bars to discuss the hashtag one person behind bars to beyond bars. And she's joined us live via Zoom. Hi, Funke. Hello, are you there?
Hi, good evening.
Thank you for joining us this evening. All right, I mean, just quickly, for those that do not know what Behind Bars, Hope Behind Bars is about, can you just quickly, tell us what the
Okay,
vision
thank
is
you. Thank you
behind
so much for
that?
having me.
Go ahead, please.
All right, thank you so much for having me. So, Hope Behind Bars Africa is a non-governmental, non-profit organization that is working to close the justice and reoffending gap in Nigeria. So basically, we work with incarcerated individuals across different correctional facilities. First of all, to provide legal support to awaiting trial inmates, and also because we know that one of the reasons why people find themselves committing crime, or one of the reasons why people find themselves in prison, is because of socioeconomic reasons. So we also try to bridge that by providing a platform for them to learn skills behind bars and generate income behind bars, so that when they come out into the society, they wouldn't have to go back into crime. Just
All right, so I was just going to ask you, Funke, because I mean, I've listened to a few lawyers that do some social work around the prisons, right? They always come out to say that you see people that are innocent, that have spent years, in prison with no hope of even leaving the cells. Also, what's it called? We've had recent cases of protests that has happened over the years, where people have been arrested until date. They're still in custody, right? So what is an organization like yours doing, to help? So outside of the skill that you're helping them, to gain some skills, what are you doing to help those people that are innocent? Because I hear that a lot. Most times when I speak to lawyers, they say there are so many innocent people in prison, and it breaks my heart. What are you doing to help those people?
all right, thank you. So, first of all, I should mention that I started Hope Behind Bars Africa majorly because of what you just mentioned. My father found himself in the criminal justice system and in detention for a crime he did not commit several years ago. And it was an incident that changed the course of my family forever. So when I went to study law, it was because I knew that there were lots of people in prison who had no one, to represent them, who had been in prison for years. And so when we started 6 years ago in 2018, we primarily started by providing pro bono free legal services to awaiting trial inmates and people that are innocent of the crimes that they've committed. And we've had a lot. I mean, so far we've been able to support over 8,500 incarcerated individuals.
Wow.
But some of the stories that really stand out, or some of the cases that we've that have really stood out for us, has been cases of people like Christian, for instance, who was coming back from school in Kaduna about 7 years ago, and he was picked up by SARS. He was picked up alongside other people, and then he found himself in Kuje prison, Kuje Correctional Facility, for 5 years without trial. Recently, we also got out somebody, Michael, who same as well. I think he bought a stolen phone or thereabouts and knew nothing about the phone. And he also spent 5 years in prison. So we have similar, lots of those kind of cases. With respect to the protests, I mean, we have actually been at the forefront of providing legal support to people that protested at the last protest and even at the NSAS protest. And I can tell you for free that the way our criminal justice system works is such that if you do not have a name, if you do not have a family that has your back, or if you do not have wealth or status, you can find yourself behind bars, or you can find yourself in prison for years on ending, and nobody would even care to see if you ever had a day in court or if you've ever been represented by anyone. So with respect to what we do, I mean, that is the major thing that Hope Behind Bars Africa does. And it was in the course of doing that we realized that many of these people spend so many years, 5, 6, 7 years behind bars. Like Christian that I mentioned, he was a student when he went into prison. By the time he came out, of course, he lost his studentship, and he had to start from the scratch. So it was in the course of providing legal services for free to these kind of individuals that we realized that in addition to providing the legal services, it's also good to find a way to also support them, because either we like it or not, many of them will still find their way back to the society. And if they come back to the society and they don't have something to fall back to, it's very easy for them to go back to crime, or for those who have not actually even been into crime, those who are innocent, find themselves considering such ways. So yes, providing legal support to innocent people behind bars is one of the major things that we do.
All right, so quickly, first off, I must commend what your organization is doing, you and your organization, and then straight to the question is, how are you managing and dealing with, long days in terms of court proceedings and all of the biases, that happens with the judicial system? So how are you managing all of that?
All right, thank you very much for that very insightful question. So it's really it's a major one for us, because I mean, you already have an idea of how our criminal justice system works. First of all, we have to deal with the police, which is the starting point, or which is the entry point, is the criminal justice system. It's often said that when the police comes in contact with lawyers, they always get angry, or they always just feel like we are there to take their jobs from them or something. So we have to battle with the challenge of dealing with the police, trying to hasten our matters, from the IPO, that's the investigating police officer, to ensuring that the matters are charged to court. And then when the matter gets to court, it's also another Herculean task, trying to ensure that trial is done as swiftly as possible. I mean, in the past couple of years, we've grown. We've grown in such a way that not only are we seeing the prison or the correctional service as our stakeholder, we see the police and the judicial officers as our stakeholders. And because they sort of like have come to understand the work that we do at Hope Behind Bars Africa, and we also have like a relationship with both the police and the judiciary, we've been able to bridge some of the challenges in some way for our clients. Also to say that we handle different kinds of cases. So we handle both simple offenses, felony, and even capital offenses. Many people would always wonder, why do you handle capital offenses? The case of Christian that I mentioned earlier, he did not commit any crime, but he was actually charged for a capital offense. So I say that to say that for the simple offenses, the matters always move on as quickly as possible. So when somebody is charged for loitering, or for vandalism, or for things like vagabond, yeah, there's a crime called vagabond, so those simple offenses, usually within 5-6 months, it's usually handled as swiftly as possible. But where it's a capital case, or where it's a felony, it takes more time. It takes
a little time.
So as much as possible. Yes, it takes more time, yes, because of the penal, of the sanctions, or the sentences involved. So I think it just varies on the type of offenses, and also our relationship with the judicial system has also helped over time.
All right, thank you so much, Funke. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. I would have really loved to hear more on the conversation, because especially Nigeria, that they do not respect rule of law. I want to know how much faith we have in our justice system. But hey, we'll probably bring you up again another time, so for us to, continue, because justice is conversation that would always, be evergreen in Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time this evening.